So it's been forever since I've done a video for the political part of my videos. What would I do if I were president? I've just kind of been at a loss, dumbfounded, not knowing what to say next or where to start next. And, it just keeps getting worse and worse. Currently, what's going on is Charlie Kirk had been, sorry, nuts are falling off of trees around, making loud noises. Charlie Kirk was killed, and it was by someone who I don't know if we've gotten the true motive yet, because everybody's blaming sides and deflecting and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm getting tired of it's the Republicans' fault, it's the left's fault, it's, this, that, the other thing. And I'm about ready to say we need to get rid of all the labels, which I know is not realistic. We like to label, we put everybody in boxes. That's part of what we do, right, as human beings. But I would really, really, really like, and I've thought about it more and more, about not having a political party. I mean, what good does it do anyhow? Everybody says what the platform is, at least on the left. The right got rid of their platform because of Trump, because he didn't want to have to stick to anything that they said on the campaign trail. He flip-flops, all that kind of stuff. So why have a platform for his stuff? But, it reminds me of our fable from Dr. Seuss, the Sneetches with stars, the Sneetches without stars, and how Monkey McBean, was that his name? Something like that, came in, took advantage of them all, and then left town with all their money. And meanwhile, they're left feeling kind of stupid. And I don't think the people that voted for Trump have gotten to the point of feeling stupid for having voted for him. But I'm waiting for that point to happen. He's just such an embarrassment. And I know that if I were president, because part of doing this series was not to complain about what's currently going on, but to try to come up with solutions, or at least get some discussion going. But nobody's discussing with me. So right now it's just me muttering. But one of the things that I would like to see is that they get rid of political parties, and everybody, has to run for themselves, run for their local offices, their state offices, national office, without a party backing them. They have to win votes. They have to win sponsorship, however you want to phrase it. But they have to win their own endorsements. That's what I meant, rather than sponsorship. They have to win their own endorsements. I'd like to get rid of corporations being able to donate money to any candidate. That all goes back to Citizen United. And I don't know enough about Citizen United itself, but I know that corporations being able to act as a person is not a good thing. And so I would like to get rid of that. I would like to get rid of all this fundraising, all this millions of money that we spend on candidates. And so rather than that, there be a big bucket that has to get split amongst the party. So the counties would have their bucket of money for their local, the state would have a bucket of money for state level, and then federal would have a bucket of money for federal elections. And everybody gets the same amount. So they have to make the best use of their money that they get and market themselves in a smart way, right? And whether you like him or not, Trump does that. He markets himself in a smart way. Everything he does it in a way to create it as news so that he gets free airtime. Okay, that's another thing I'd like to fix. I would like for news to be back to news and not covering ridiculousness, right? Not call it a press conference and it turn into a pep rally, right? So, how do we fix some of that? And so I'm not sure exactly how feasible, exactly what we would do, all of that kind of stuff. But something like that is what I would want to do. And as far as, well, how would you get to the higher levels of, like the higher levels of state for elections? Because, like in North Carolina, we have 100 counties. So if each county nominated their own person, then how does it go from there? And so, same thing for federal. How do you narrow it down, right? Because I agree, you can't have 50 people running for president. You got to narrow it down. And that's part of what the debates are about, is to narrow things down. And that's why they have some of the conditions in order to be in the debate. But I also have found those not to be fair either, right? So how do we make it fair? But how do we also streamline the process along the way? And, it could be set up like they do in sports where you have your matches and narrow it down to the championship, right? I'm saying right a lot today. I'm under the influence of drugs. I just had injections in my back, so forgive me for saying some stuff way too much. But that's one of the reasons why I'm dressed today. Yay! I actually put my pajama bottoms on, so yeah, we're not completely dressed anymore. But, I, going back, because I started this off with Charlie Kirk being murdered, I can't remember now if it was this past weekend. I think it's been over a week, so it might be going on 2 weeks now. As much as I hated everything that he said, most of what he said, I won't say everything, but most of what he said, he should not have been murdered. I do believe in free speech, and if you want to say hateful things, then that is your prerogative to do so. Of course, there are going to be consequences such as people not watching your YouTube channel, or you may not be able to stay at work, or whatever you say and what the consequences will be for whatever, right? There I go again. But as long as you're not threatening harm to anybody, not threatening harm to yourself, then you can say whatever you want and people can find out who you really are, right? I think I'll try to, oh no, I won't edit it, but we're getting ready to go on 10 minutes here. So I did want to say that I do condemn the violence that's been happening, and I don't know how to minimize what's been going on with political violence. It's definitely gotten out of hand. It's been out of hand for years, and violence in general, especially with guns, has gotten out of control in a lot in this since 2000 and something, right? Somewhere in there, it's gotten really bad. So, yeah, if I were president, I would get rid of parties. You have to not only represent yourself, you're representing your values and hopefully representing the values of the people that vote for you, right? And then as far as trying to get the corruption out of politics, get rid of corporations, being able to act as a person, make the election process a little more fair. Everybody gets the same amount of money. They got to spend it the wisest way they feel. do it more of a vote this person off kind of process, to streamline it as you get higher and higher in the process of things. And yeah, those have been my thoughts lately. It's been over 2 months since I last spoke to y'all about politics. But, as much as I try to keep these short, I just can't. I just can't keep them short, but I try. But those are my thoughts. That's kind of where I'm at with things. And hopefully one day things will seem more manageable, make us feel like we can breathe, and make us feel excited about politics. I always say I'm not a political person, but some of the stuff that happens makes me very vocal and into politics. Is that? Oh, that's a front fur. So, what do you all think? How would you get rid of this labeling and left, right, Republican, Democrat, their side, my side? How would you fix that if you were president? Maybe I'll get some discussion on this one. Thank you.